All right, here we are. It is Tuesday. It's May 2nd, 2023. This is Joe Justice coming to you live with the Kanawha Valley Hustle. Hello and welcome. It's Tuesday, and like I said before, you might get a little sneak peek about what we're going to be talking about today because I've got a comment there about the Mountaineer Media podcast. I might give you a hint as to who we're talking about today and who our guest is today. But it is Tuesday, like I said, and that makes it Transformation Tuesday. And I thought our next guest would be a great person to bring on for Transformation Tuesday because if you want to talk about a transformation, you want to talk about hustles and changing things up and being a little bit different and not doing the same old thing, we've got our next guest coming up with us. So coming up with us right now, we've got my good friend, CJ Harvey, who has changed quite a bit in the last couple of years since I've known him. So first things first, I want to ask to get it out of the way, CJ, what's your hustle, buddy?
Yeah. Hey, Joe, thanks for having me on. And yeah, my hustle is to shine a positive light on West Virginia as much as possible. And I try to do that with my professional career and my day-to-day life outside of work, and certainly with Mountaineer Media as well.
And just to touch on the transformation aspect of this, it wasn't too long ago that you had a completely different career, wasn't it?
Yeah, actually, it was funny. You and I never quite crossed paths, but I have a similar background because I used to work as a sports reporter at WCHS TV in Charleston. You actually kind of worked as a freelancer with Channel 8. There's more logistics into that than what I just said. But so we never crossed paths before, but yeah, we have a similar history when it comes to TV production. And so, yeah, I was there for a while, and then I was there for 5 years. And that was really my first gig out of school. And then back in September of 22, just about 8 months ago, I repositioned myself, took a different job. I'm in state government now, and it's still a communications role, but certainly a little more. State government is very different than being a sports reporter, and now I'm the press secretary to Governor Jim Justice. But yeah, that's quite the role reversal there. Very different being on this side of the camera than I was being in front of the camera, but it's been a great transformation so far.
Well, that's cool. Well, you know, I'm a big believer in transformation, taking new opportunities. It's funny you mentioned that I was, a different role. Yeah, I used to do a lot of media production, so I would cross paths with the people at WSAZ going way or no,
CHS.
Yeah, WSAZ, right? WCHS.
Yeah,
I worked with all of them.
Yeah,
but
I'm
yeah,
sure
definitely.
Yeah.
And I know you and I worked with Mark Martin together, and some other folks there. But yeah, I did so much media production over the years that, I've worked with everybody, but yeah, never quite worked directly with you.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we did end up crossing paths somewhere along the way with Mountaineer Media. And I know, your position now is a lot different, and the whole world of politics does not lend itself to, well, it's funny. It's like the world of politics lends itself really well to like podcasts and stuff if you want to get into a lot of trouble really fast, right?
True. Yeah, exactly.
But if you want to stay out of trouble, you don't talk politics on podcasts. So let's just skip right past that. Let's talk about Mountaineer Media because I love what you and Cooper have been doing with Mountaineer Media. Has it been 3 years yet?
Yeah, so our 3rd year anniversary is coming up. Mid-May is when we technically launched our social media pages, mid-May of 2020. June 20th will be technically the 3rd anniversary of our first podcast episode. And so, yeah, we're coming up on the end of year 3. It's been pretty crazy, but yeah, certainly we've crossed paths with Mountaineer Media. We've worked a lot together. We've collaborated, and I love just to see your transformation over the last couple of years since we've gotten to know you, and getting into the exercise routine that you did, and then obviously now what you're doing with even more content creation than you did before. So love to see your personal transformation as well.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, the whole content. I've spent years creating content for others, so I figure might as well create some for myself somewhere along the way, right?
Exactly. Yep. There's a lot of power being in front of a microphone. Maybe it's like it's maybe more self-worth than anything else, but
Well, you know what? In all honesty, I love talking to people, and
yeah.
I like to talk. So might as well mix it up a little bit with some of that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Letting the world know about your thoughts and opinions. Not that everybody's asking for them, but if people want to tune in and listen, by golly, I'll be willing to share.
Now, when we talk about transformation,
Hmm.
and you talked about starting Mountaineer Media, starting the social media page, that's one thing that I wanted to kind of touch on when it comes to you guys and what you've been able to accomplish now. Now,
Hmm.
nowadays, if somebody goes Mountaineer Media, you've got live events, you've got a podcast. I know the podcast is kind of the core, but you've got websites, you've got social media, you've got mailing lists and newsletters, clothing, merchandise. You got all kinds of stuff, but it didn't start out that way. Did you have well, you didn't start out with this grand plan. You didn't have an architect. You didn't have a marketing firm that put all this stuff in place, right? Tell me about the process of getting from, I think it was you and Cooper at a table, just kind of chit chatting to where you are today with this little mini empire that you're building.
Yeah, yeah, we're trying to build a West Virginia media conglomerate. Not that we're building something that's going to be in direct competition with TV stations like my former employer or the radio or the newspaper, but we all can work in unison in a manner to kind of promote West Virginia. At least that's what we're trying to do. But yeah, like at the very beginning of all of this, it started out as just a podcast. We wanted to interview well-known and influential West Virginians to try and dismantle the negative and harmful stereotypes that West Virginians too often get. And they're harmful. And it started with just talking to people week after week. And then it slowly started developing into what it is now today. You just add layers. Once you get the podcast down, you kind of create this equation that it's easier to put together week after week. And then you can add things like a website and then a TikTok and then, writers to the website. And then you can build your own merchandise and sell your own hats and clothing. And then you partner with other small businesses and collaborators to maybe do some affiliate marketing or throw your logo on something that they sell. And anyway, it has turned into this sharing the West Virginia experience conglomerate, media conglomerate, and we love it. And like you said, you talked about live events. Part of what we've done is we like to share that positive West Virginia message out put it into the ethos and put it out into the world. Now, the way that we do that generally is through podcasts and social media. So of course you're reaching a digital audience, but one of the core functions of sharing the West Virginia experience and shining a positive light on West Virginia is to create these in-person bonds. And that is where this idea of creating live events has come from. We did something at 5th Street Brewing in downtown Charleston. We wanted our audience to come together, meet us, meet each other. We just did something at Taylor Books where we had a sip, sign, and chat with author Ed Ashton, another event that we wanted people to come out, meet each other, collaborate, network, meet us, speak with the author, and have fun. Of course, you were there, you were asking questions, and I thought that event really well. And then, of course, we have the Almost Heaven Classic, which is kind of becoming a beast, where we're going to be up at Canaan Valley here June 9th and June 10th, Friday night networking mixer with a keynote panel. Brad Smith, Marshall University president, Sarah Biller, the executive director of Vantage Ventures, and then Brandon Dennison, the CEO and founder of Coalfield Development, are going to be talking about investing in West Virginia. Of course, they're all investing in different manners. It's not necessarily monetarily, it's time, entrepreneurship, education, nonprofit. So anyway, the sharing the West Virginia experience in 3 years went from just a weekly podcast to all of these new layers, including live events, which is kind of stacked on top right now. And we just continue to build out this little media empire. I like that, but this media conglomerate of shining a positive light on West Virginia. We're just going to keep going and see where it goes.
Yeah, I think what you guys have accomplished has really been incredible. I mean, it's
Thank
all
you.
in that persistence. It really
For
is. It's
sure.
like you said, you just build onto it. You start, then you build with what you have. But now, with that said, though, I do want to come back to one thing real quick. I remember
Mm-hmm.
one of you, if not your first guest on your podcast, one of your first guests was Senator Joe Manchin. Where in the world did you get the chutzpah for two guys from Charleston to actually ask Joe Manchin, the senator of your state, to hop on a chat on a podcast that barely even existed.
Yeah.
How were you brave enough to pull that off?
Yeah, that was pretty early on. Cooper had a connection in Senator Manchin's office and just put the request out and said, "Hey, we're trying to talk about, West Virginia." Senator Manchin obviously grew up in West Virginia, has a lot of ties to West Virginia. He spent plenty of time in DC, but at the end of the day, he's West Virginia through and through, West Virginian through and through. And so that was really a connection that we made. We put in the request, and he was nice enough to accept it. And then we had a great 45-minute chat with him. And that was certainly one of those episodes that helped get us on the map early.
And I know you've talked to a lot of other people, and I guess, like Brad Smith, for example, and I think that the lesson for people that are, building their own hustle is, you got to ask, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just, and especially when you've created the niche that you want to be, when you have the pitch, when you have the niche, it does become easier to sell, whatever it is that you're selling. And so, yeah, certainly creating this ambiance of we're shining a positive light on West Virginia. That's the niche. And then when you get down how to pitch that to people, hey, we want to talk to you for 45 minutes and have you on our podcast to talk about, and shine a light on West Virginia, about how you personally are shining a light on West Virginia. People are quick to eat that up, especially West Virginians, because everybody, if you're from West Virginia, you love to tell your West Virginia story. And that's certainly what we've found.
Absolutely. Well, believe it or not, CJ, we're already bumping up against our time here. This has been great, but I want to give you enough time to give any last words here. I know you already talked about the Almost Heaven Classic. I was wanting to bring that up, which I'm going to be there that Friday for the mixer. I can't wait. And I'm really, really excited about that. I don't play golf, unfortunately. I've got to learn, because that's the first thing anybody ever asks is, "Oh, you want to go for a golfing trip?" And I don't play. So I'm going to have to learn. Maybe you can teach me.
Yeah, the problem is I'm not that great of a golfer either. So
well, you're better than me.
We'll leave it up to Cooper. Cooper's the real golf fanatic there. We'll leave the lessons up to him.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, any last words? Anything you want to leave with our audience here today? Any last things about how to hustle and get things done in the Kanawha Valley?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you just believe in yourself, believe in your message. If you're doing something for the right reason, it's ultimately going to work out. Everybody meets challenges. Everybody has hurdles that they have to figure out how to leap over. And of course, certain hurdles are various heights. Some are much higher than others. But at the end of the day, really, if you are doing what you believe in and you know that it's for a good cause, there are no hurdles that are insurmountable, especially in West Virginia, because there are so many people here that can help you do what you need to do. And you'll be able to succeed and get over whatever those challenges are. So yeah, absolutely. Just keep going, keep at it.
Just keep hustling. Keep hustling. All right. Well, thank you so much, CJ.
Absolutely.
Hang on there for just a second. I'm going to go ahead and sign off for everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I will put the link to Mountaineer Media. Their website's got all of the details where you can follow them on social, follow their podcast. Their podcast comes out once a week, and they've got all kinds of really interesting guests. I don't know how in the world CJ and Cooper book some of the people that they do, but they're very fascinating, and from all different walks of life in West Virginia. They've talked to the senators all the way down to farmers, and there's, everything in between. So it's got something for everybody there. So be sure to check that out. And I want to remind you guys that if you need to get a hold of me, you can reach me at joe@joejustice.org. Feel free to ask me if you want to be on the show, if you want to share with anybody. Make sure like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.